Hey guys, what's up? So we're gonna get into project 3 and compositing this time. Remember, I've asked you to make a file that's 18 by 24 at 300 dpi. Make sure that you have it at 300 dpi. I've taken a picture of my sketches, my elements that I'm gonna use for my composition. I'm also shortly going to open up my portrait that I took with my phone. There it is. Remember, I decided to go with my Frankenstein steampunk power generator type theme. So this is going to be me working on that. This is probably going to be around 17 minutes total. There's going to be a lot of working through this and making corrections. Right now I'm using an adjustment layer, a threshold adjustment layer, just to see how it affects. Threshold, as you know, breaks things down into either white or black pixels, and sometimes that might be conducive for a good design that's in black and white, but I immediately decided to go with a gradient map, which you have access to more of those middle grays, as you'll see in a minute. As soon as I adjust those, you can see that I can minimize those middle grays even more by scooching that white over. Command R or rulers is great because you can start adding in guides. And the thing that I like to do is, when I sketch, you notice that I sketched out a frame first. It's a lot of way I like to work in the same way when I use guides in Photoshop and Illustrator. And those guides can be pulled out from the rulers. So you just click, hold, and drag from your rulers and you can make guides. I've made my guides with a margin of 1 inch. I'm also pulling out guides to indicate where the rule of thirds are. Remember that odds and anything that is tied to nature or natural proportions is more appealing to the eye than evens or just kind of flying blindly. This will help you organize your composition. So if you want to utilize the rule of thirds, drag out some guidelines. I'm going to start to paste in my sketches from my file right here. And I'm just exploring. I'm cutting these out. I think I'll use the majority of them to cut out from using my marquee tools very roughly at first. Like, I don't even care that it has this huge hunk of extra paper there around the borders of that drawing. And this is about working really quickly and just exploring different types of scenarios. Sometimes you'll get frustrated, sometimes you'll have happy accidents, and that's what I find great about this experiment and this project, is that we can just explore and figure out what works or what is bothering us and how do we fix things. So don't be afraid. I've made this kind of generator piece there. I'm not really sure how I feel about it. I'm kind of bothered by it, but I'm going to use my magic wand tool just to quickly select that outside paper of my sketch and just delete that with Command X or cut. I'm going to start to bring in more pieces and just really quick and dirty with my polygonal lasso tool. Some will be done with the lasso tool, and just getting those selected and copied and pasted and on their own layer, which is nice. starting to bring in other elements, starting to play with positioning and scale. I kind of like these two like terminals on top of my head. But a lot of this is about finding what works and what doesn't, but it's also about making it semi believable and figuring out how these objects or these elements, these sketches, are going to fit your head, fit onto your head or with your head in 3D space. Now, and I say that because a lot of students kind of end it just here and they kind of almost as if it were flat. I mean, yes, the paper is flat that you drew on, but don't make it seem like you're just pasting elements or imagery onto your portrait. It's not really believable. So I'll start to adjust shadow and mass and angles and rotation, even scale and proportion, to make it seem like these elements are really on top of my head or in my same space. Try different colored backgrounds. I know we're working in black and white, but if you want to pick a gray or even a black, you can see here I'm trying black as a background because I thought of these kind of energy sparks coming off my generators, and I thought how cool would it be for it to be glowing, and glowing on a white background doesn't really work, so I thought, hey, why not try a black background? So I'm trying a black background. Of course, I need to make a selection of my head now and cut it out from its background. And eventually I try select and mask, which of course is our go-to for anything related to a person's face. So here I'm going into select and mask, and remember how easy it is to look how fast it grabbed my whole face. It's missing my ear, but that's okay. And I'm just going to do some adjustments, and the result, of course, is fantastic. So if you have that, if you remember that knowledge from our class exercise, make sure you use that. Look how nice that portrait looks on a black background now. And even I inverted my gradient map there because I thought how cool would it be for it to be glowing. In fact, it was a happy accident that I tried this because I like this inverted look better because it looks like it's undergoing some kind of electric shock, typical of like the movies of that era, where they inverted color or inverted value. And I've had to do something different with my sketches now, which is, a black sketch and black ink sketch won't really work on a black background. So I've had to invert all of my sketches to white or light gray. And I've done that using a gradient map on each one of them, each one of those little sketches. And I've merged them down so now they're permanently white instead of black, or they're reversed, their values reversed. So As you start to get a lot of layers inside of your layers panel, it's good to create a group. A group is the little folder icon in your layers panel. And if you have multiple layers selected, you can create a group, and you can even start dragging other layers into that group. And it's an easy way to have or make them have like the same effect. You can even lock that entire folder down. You can label that entire group as something if you're organized. Here I'm creating a clipping mask. Clipping mask, as you remember, affect only the layer beneath it. They don't affect all the layers beneath it. Clipping mask works great. And again, I'm using that inverted gradient map, so I'm turning all of my sketches white. And I'm using a gradient map and a clipping mask, so I just affect that one gear that's visible there. I found that I would just go ahead and create or duplicate that same effect with the other sketches, and I'll continue to do so. It took a bit of time to convert all of my sketches to white instead of black, or to reverse them, but in the end I think it was worth it. So try it out.